and Gio.
BT and Sal.
Evan and Tiki. Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
There we go. A pitching performance never been seen before. That's not hyperbole. That's not just throwing it out there. Legitimately, in the postseason, we have never seen anyone in their first appearance go 8 innings, no runs, 12 strikeouts, no walks. Cam Schlittler delivered, and unlike anyone else, he is now the 4th highest strike totals by a rookie. Most Ks by a rookie. Levan Hernandez with 15 and 97. Boddicker, 83 at 14. Candelaria had 14 and 75. Schlittler, 12. In 8 innings, he was flawless. You talk about the biggest stage of all time. Yeah, this is not World Series, but this is a sold-out crowd at Yankee Stadium up against the Boston Red Sox, who schooled you in the first game of the series. Everything is on the line. It's a must-win game, and Cam Schlittler goes out and does basically what he's done since he's been called up. He's pretty much flawless. He is pretty much has been flawless since he has been called up to the Yankees, and it's unbelievable. And you talk about getting the feel of the game. At one point in time, we're scratching our heads going, oh, no, is he going to get pulled here? It's the 6th inning. Is he going to get 7th inning? Comes back out for the 8th inning, and it's like, yes, you nailed it. Like, let him go. And I almost even wanted Cam to go out there for the 9th because, he was so locked in. And I know you didn't have to, but it was so locked in just in case Bednar did or whomever was going to come in was going to have a little skip. I wanted Schlittler to go out there, start it off, and if for some reason it didn't go smooth, then you go to the bullpen. Because once you throw that first bullpen arm in, if Bednar didn't get the first 3 outs, it's going to go to hell. Schlittler was so locked in, he would have gotten a complete game shutout today. I'm convinced that's how good he was. That's how locked in he was. And not to mention, his teammates helped him out. I mean, the defense from Volpe was excellent. Jazz, for the most part, made some really nice plays at second base. Maybe they couldn't turn the double plays as many as they wanted to, but they were able to eliminate any real damage. They were able to get the lead runner every time. And they just never allowed Boston to really get any momentum at all, especially on the base pass. It was amazing. And the catch of the night, Ryan McMahon, who, listen, I knew offensively he was not the guy that the Yankees were looking for at third base. He's not that offensively gifted as much as you guys, as much as everyone was begging for him, he just is not that dude. But the one thing is, he's a much better glove than they've had. And he showed it as he basically made the best catch I could say I've ever seen in the playoffs. You want to throw, any other catch out there. The fact that he had to, the only way for Ryan McMahon to catch that baseball was to basically do exactly what he did, which was charge, go to the third base side. He gets to the dugout for the Boston Red Sox, and he's got to extend, catches the ball, and as he does that, he flips his entire body over, so much so that the Red Sox players had to actually help him. Like, I know you can sit there and be like, hey, listen, he's not my teammate. I don't got to do crap. They did because they had to. The guy did a full somersault over the freaking fence at the dugout and made an amazing catch. And that's what the night was special, man. If you're a Yankee fan, you were gloating, you're glowing, you take it back. all the way offensively speaking, you go back to when, and both pitchers were pretty freaking good. I'm not listen. Obviously, the Yankees got to the Red Sox pitcher a little bit later in the game, but in that fourth inning, Stanton. Hold on, let's go to it, because in that fourth inning, and Early pitched well. Like the first 3 innings, Schlittler and Early were going toe-to-toe. Maybe not as many strikeouts, but still, regardless, toe-to-toe. And then in that fourth inning, let's break it down here. You get, and I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the Stanton double from earlier in the game, which, by the way, if he got thrown out, it would have been nuts. So in the second inning, Giancarlo Stanton hits a shot that you think off the bat, he thinks off the bat, he looks at his teammates, everybody thinks that ball is out. And it kind of just dies last minute. And he put the Jets on and was able to get to second base. I haven't seen him run that fast in about 3 or 4 years. We've seen him run slower to home in a regular season game when being sent in a big spot. That was the fastest I think I've seen Giancarlo Stanton run in forever. And I thought he was going to get hurt, but he got there in time, so that was good. Unfortunately, they couldn't score the run. They couldn't do anything with it. Rice struck out, Rosario flies out, and Chisholm strikes out. But that was because early on, both pitchers were pretty fantastic. But the fourth inning comes up, and Bellinger leadoff double, which is huge. Stanton walks. Listen, I said it last night that I was questioning whether or not you start Stanton because he didn't look good at the plate the past 2 games. Today, he looked good. He was able to see the ball well. He did what he needed to do. He got on base. He's not the most gracious base runner, but still, it ended up working out. Rice strikes out, which again, he didn't have the best game, Ben Rice, but at least you got him in. Like, he had to play. He had to play. Ben Rice needed to get at bats because he's one of your best hitters on the team. It doesn't make a difference, what's going on at first base, to be fair. It just doesn't. And we'll get to first base in a little bit because I do have my criticisms in general about first baseman. Rosario, big hit, single, scores Bellinger. So now you're first and second because G clearly can't run. You got Chisholm then who gets another single to deep right. But again, because Giancarlo Stanton can't run, now you get bases loaded. Volpe comes through again. And clearly he's been, whether it's just the postseason or whatever the case is, he has been hitting much better. He's been fielding much better. Maybe he's finally healthy. Whatever the case is, the regular season, he was god-awful. You can't take that away. But the postseason, that's now, how many hits is that now? Because he had 2 in the first game. He had 1 in the second game. And then he had another single, RBI single. Did strike out twice or 3 times. But regardless, big RBI single, 4 hits in 3 games. Pretty good for Volpe at this point in time, especially when you're driving in a run. And these runs at this point in time, they're extremely crucial because you don't know if you're going to be able to score more. I mean, at this point in time, both, even though you got bases loaded, it's a big time spot, and no one's been able to deliver that big, just breaking open a game hit. It hasn't happened yet, and it kind of never came. That big hit never came. As Volpe gets that single, it's now 2-0, still bases loaded, and then Wells scores on the fielder's choice, which. What is it? Was it there an error on that play? I think that's what it was. But then Rosario and Chisholm both scored too because it's just a mess of a play. And it was, it takes that sometimes to get lucky. And that was the big play. It wasn't the big hit, but that was the big play where I'm trying to remember exactly how that play went together. But at that point in time, it's 4-0, and the scoring is done for the day. That's it. And then Cam Schlittler took over. I mean, he was incredible, and it was one of the best performances. Again, like you said, this is not hyperbole. This is not making it up. It's one of the best performances we've ever seen from a rookie in the playoffs. Ever. And save your bullpen. You don't have to worry about, are we going to Fernando Cruz? Are we going to Devin? I kept on saying, like, oh, maybe they got to go to Williams here. Maybe they got to go. And my kids are like, no. What are you, crazy? We don't want to see Devin Williams. We don't want to see Fernando Cruz. We don't want to see Tim Hill. We don't want to see anybody. We don't want to see, if Will Warren comes up. We don't want to see anybody. They hand the ball to David Bednar, gives up a single, but then shuts down after that. Gives up a walk to Bregman, but then shuts down after that. As Yoshida gets out, Rafaela strikes out, and then Nathaniel Lowe pops out. But that was the play. Now it's coming back to me. The Nathaniel Lowe, the ball gets hit, and Lowe can't get in front of it. And, not for nothing, and I'm not making it a Met thing here, but I've seen a lot of bad first basemen or first base plays in this wild card series. I saw today Spencer Torkelson get a ground ball, and he played it. The pitcher, Will Vest, is covering first base. And I know that there's got to be a little grace throwing the ball over to first base. Maybe you fired it, whatever the case is. He zipped it, and it hit Will Vest in the head. Okay? So I hear a lot of criticism over at first base and who's good, who's not. I got to be honest with you. They all kind of suck. Ben Rice has issues at first base all the time, picking up plays and scooping up balls, making plays at first base. We know he's not a natural first baseman. Paul Goldschmidt's had his issues too. Like I just said, Spencer Torkelson had his issues today. I've seen a lot of Nathaniel Lowe. This was Nathaniel Lowe, a Gold Glover, not fielding the ball properly, gets by him, and 2-run scores on something that should have been an easy out. And it would have been 2-0, and that could have saved the game for the Red Sox and keep this game closer. So in the later parts of the innings, maybe they could have gotten a rally. Maybe the pressure would have been different. But a 4-run lead at that point in time, when Schlittler was so locked in, it felt like it was never going to come. It just never did. And here we go. Here's the other thing. We crushed Aaron Boone the past 2 nights. We crushed Aaron Boone for taking out Max Fried too early, for leaving Carlos Rodon in too long. Today, you got to praise Aaron Boone for leaving Cam Schlittler and letting him go 8 innings. On the other hand, you can crush Alex Cora for leaving early in too long. He did not have it in the 4th inning. I don't know what he was waiting for. I know he only had 78 pitches, but it wasn't working in the 4th inning for early. And at that point in time, you have to rescue your young pitcher. Again, Bellinger leads off with a double. It's not like Bellinger led off with like a little tiny dribbler that they fielded wrong, they threw it away, and then Bellinger's over at second base. No, clear as day double. Stanton then walks. So the first 2 guys get on. Like right there, you're going to be thinking it's the final game of the wild card series. This is do or die. I need to prepare myself to go to somebody. I know there's not many good options, but you got to give it a try. You got to try something. Like I said, Ben Rice strikes out, but then Rosario single. So now 3 out of the 4 hitters have gotten on base. 2 hits, 1 walk. Then Chisholm single. So now 4 out of 5. Volpe singles. 5 out of 6. And then Austin Wells, again, error of fielder's choice, whatever you want to call it. 6 out of 7 get on base somehow. Then Grisham flies out. And then finally, Connolly early gets pulled for Justin Slayton. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batters he faced. He got 2 outs out of 8 batters, 4-run score, and then he goes to the bullpen. You want to talk about completely dropping the ball? Alex Cora did that. You want to say, hey, Aaron Boone was too early with the hook on Max Fried? Yes, we all agree. Carlos Rodon, he went a little long, but he did eventually pull him. Alex Cora basically, jumped off the bridge right there. He basically just killed the whole momentum, killed the whole game. What was he doing? I now haven't listened to any postgame, so I don't know his reasoning. I have no idea what his excuse is, but that is malpractice. That if people are talking about Get rid of Aaron Boone. He's got no field. Fire, blah, blah, blah. Alex Cora made the worst mistake the entire series. So should he be fired? Should he be gone? Because all I heard about was Alex Cora ran circles around Aaron Boone. Well, maybe there was a friendly agreement before the game. Hey, Alex, I embarrassed myself the last 2 games. Can you do me a favor? Do something stupid so you can make me look good. Whatever it was, it worked. Alex Cora looks like a total tool not going and taking out his pitcher, whether it was after the Stanton walk, whether it's after the Rosario single, whether it's after the Chisholm single with bases loaded, whether it's after the Volpe single, whether it's after Austin Wells. Again, even after the Austin Wells, which is an error, which is the defense came up lame there for him, he still gives him one more batter for Trent Grisham. I mean, all right, whatever. So I guess it wasn't that big of a deal for Alex Cora. But listen, great outing. Again, great game for this team. The crowd was on fire. The Yankees were on fire. Again, that double that Giancarlo Stanton hit in the second inning, which looked like it was going to be a home run, that didn't. But you saw right away that the team was locked in. You saw that. You saw that the Yankees were ready to just burst out and, take control of this game, take control of the series, and find their way going to Toronto. And like we all said, I think there was everybody this week on the air said the Yankees were the better team between Boston and the Yankees. Like they just were. Like they were the more complete team. They had a better bullpen. They had better starters. They had more offense. It was just, and this is always the Achilles heel for the Yankees. They can't hit aces. That's it. Garrett Crochet scares me. There's nobody on Toronto that scares me. I'm sorry. Chris Bassett doesn't scare me. I know Shane Bieber is on the team, and I'm not really sure. I know the first couple games with Toronto, he looked okay. Listen, he hadn't pitched in over a year, maybe even more, like maybe a year and a half because he had Tommy John surgery. The Guardians traded him to the Blue Jays, which, by the way, maybe the Guardians shouldn't have done it because they could have used him in the playoffs. But regardless, they traded him to Toronto. He is maybe arguably their best pitcher. I mean, Gossman's there too, sure. I'm not sure how they're laying out their rotation, whether it's going to be Gossman, Bieber. I know Berrios is on the IL. Is Scherzer going to get a start? Is Bassett going to get a start? I'm not really sure how they're laying out their pitching rotation, but maybe Bieber, but he's only going 6 innings. He's not going 7, 8, 9 innings. And their bullpen does not scare me. You're talking about maybe Shane Bieber and Kevin Gossman, if he has a good day, are the best pitchers on that team. The Yankees should have a field day with Toronto. They should. It should be a quick series for the New York Yankees. And I know that their offensive threats are over there between Vlad, between Bichette, who is he still hurt? I think he's still hurt, if I'm correct. They do have some injuries right now, but Springer's still there. They have a bunch of still offensively gifted players that nobody, I'm not going to sit there and say that they can't hit the baseball off the Yankees, but if you got Fried pitching the way he did on Tuesday, if you got Schlittler pitching the way he did on Thursday, even if you have Rodon going at least giving you 6 good innings, you're not going to kill your bullpen. And you're talking about a 5-game series. This Yankee team should have no problem against the Toronto Blue Jays. I said it, called it earlier in the year. The New York Yankees are going to represent the American League in the World Series. And that's still how I feel today. No doubt about it. There is no question that this team is good enough to make it to the World Series. There's no doubt. And good job by Aaron Boone on Thursday to make sure not only did he get his bats in early, he made sure that Rice was able to play, Stanton was able to play, Judge, Jazz, everybody that needed to bat were able to be in the game. And then he made the right call with a good 4-run lead. Late in the game, 8th inning, he started to make his defensive substitutions, and it worked out. Goldschmidt goes to first. He even was able to get in that bat and got a base hit. McMahon over at third. It all worked out. It all worked out today. And I think that Toronto is going to be another series that the Yankees are going to be victorious. Seattle, Detroit, I don't think that Detroit's very scary to me, personally speaking. I know that they won. We'll break it down as we break down the wild card a little bit. Detroit beat the Guardians. To me, Detroit, they lack good bullpen pitching. I know Canley was out there. He almost gave up a couple. If it wasn't for Jose, well, listen, there was a defensive blunder on that Will Vest play that Spencer Torkelson basically threw it at Vest's face, bounced off, goes to the first base side, and Jose Ramirez, who's got to hit the ball to first base, 2-run score, and he makes a play to go to second base. He gets thrown out at second base. So that could have continued to rally. The Guardians, again, we talked about this on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it was, when we were seeing like a rookie debuting in center field for the Guardians. Like, they don't have this juggernaut of a lineup. They just have, solid quality major leaguers with Jose Ramirez and a couple other decent hitters. But this is not like a special offense that the Guardians had. They caught fire at the right time. And they almost were able to, they had home field advantage, and they were almost able to fight back in game 3 to almost knock out the Tigers. But the Tigers, like I said, they have been the paper Tigers all season long. Besides Spencer Turnbull, that's it. He's the one guy. Did I say Turnbull? Yeah, I believe I said his name right. Now I'm blanking on him. But anyway, he is the only guy that I'm concerned about. Skubal. Spencer Turnbull, I think he is I'm blanking, but I think he was a closer for the Milwaukee Brewers. Tarek Skubal finally clicked in. He's the only guy that I'm worried about if the Yankees have to play the Tigers. Otherwise, you're going to be able to hit that pitching. No doubt about it. I'm not concerned about their starters. I'm not concerned about their bullpen. And their offense is okay. I know they scored 6 runs on Thursday, but it wasn't like they were killing the ball. It wasn't like they were hitting home runs. And again, you have a couple guys that have power, but they're not as scary as the originals. When they were in first place for a long time, everyone was like, "Oh, the Detroit Tigers are the best team in the league." They're really not. Don't let them scare you at all. Seattle Mariners I'd be more scared of because they do have a lot of heavy pitching. And they brought in some hitters. They brought in Josh Naylor. They brought in Eugenio Suarez. So they brought in 2 good offensive pieces to fill out a great pitching staff. Seattle is the only team right now that scares me in the playoffs. But you never know what can happen in the playoffs. You never know what can happen with Detroit and them. So we'll find out. I'm excited for this Toronto series. I do think it's going to be an easy one for the New York Yankees. But, that being said, anything can happen. You know that. So don't take my word for it. Don't bet the house. But I do think that the Yankees are going to find a way to get out of the ALDS unscathed, go to the ALCS. I still think they're going to be the AL representatives in the World Series. Quickly, obviously the matchups, Philadelphia and the Dodgers. I can't stand that series. That one, I hope they both lose. It won't happen. And then the best series of the weekend, or of the NLDS, I should say, is probably Milwaukee and Chicago. Chicago played really well against San Diego. It's a good series. They both have explosive players. The pitching staffs are decent. Milwaukee's been the best team in baseball, though. Like, they really have been. So I'm interested to see how that series goes. Is it going to be tough? They're bitter rivals. They're both in the same Central Division. So Milwaukee has been good for a while. We know that. That's where David Stearns came from. All you Mets fans know that. So we will see what happens. But Milwaukee and Chicago Cubs, it's LA Dodgers, Philadelphia Phillies. You got Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers, and then you got Toronto Blue Jays, and the Yankees are making on their way to Canada to go face the Blue Jays. So it's going to be a fun playoffs. The DS is up. It's going to start this Saturday and Sunday, so get ready. If you're interested in that, otherwise, just go watch football on Sunday because the Jets have no chance of winning. But if you want to watch something negative and bad, that's what you should do. And then the Giants are playing the Saints on Sunday, which that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in New Orleans to watch the Giants game. But anyway, listen, thank you for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. Be excited. Be happy. Go out there. I wouldn't go and gloat just yet, but go out there and just, you did beat Boston. You beat the Red Sox. So Yankee fans, be happy about it and just be excited that Cam Schlittler is on your team. That is something to be proud of. Ben Rice has been somebody that's been very, exciting to watch all season long. You think about him as an offensively gifted player, but the one thing the Yankees continuously do, and we never discuss it, we always look for those prospects. We always look for who's going to come up. Is it going to be Dominguez? Is it going to be Volpe? Is it going to be Rice? Who is it going to be? The pitching staff, they do right. They find a way to find another good starting pitcher in Cam Schlittler. And not only is he a good pitcher, serviceable pitcher, he could be an ace. With that type of performance in the playoffs, in a big spot, that's ace-like stuff, baby. Be happy. Thank you again for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. I am Pete Hoffman. You can always follow me at HoffWFAN. Check me out tomorrow or Friday, whenever you're listening to this, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with BT and Sal, as we will talk about the Yankees. We will talk about the football. We'll do a lot of everything. So just tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But I'm sure that this game is going to be the first thing we talk about, so enjoy. You can subscribe, definitely on the YouTube, definitely on Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Go do that, please. I will also be hosting midnight to 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. So you get to hear a lot more of me if you're not done with me right now. Saturday morning, 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. on YouTube, as well as the Odyssey app, or tune in 660 a.m. and 1019 FM if you're in the tri-state area. But thank you again. At HoffWFAN, follow me on social media. I will see you guys tomorrow, and have a great weekend if we don't talk, if we don't see each other. Peace.